She says, I'm going to use your employ an Upwork VA to buy and review strategy. So that's, as you may recall, is where you employ VAs. So what you do is you run a job on a website like Upwork or Freelancer or something like that. I use Upworker. For a virtual assistant, we can filter for people in our target country. So filter by location. So we can do North America. Here we go. And then all of our people come up. And if we just choose the very, very cheap people here, because that's all we want, I now can look at all these virtual assistants in the North Americas. So I can run a job and then I can approach them using private messaging to go and review my product for me. So that's the strategy that, and I've already laid that out in a previous Q&A, but that gives you a bit of an update if you're new, okay? So Sue says, do I aim for 7 to 10 reviews? How far apart should I make the purchases? She says, I'm sure it would look really sus if all the purchases happened in one hit. All right, so I'm going to answer that part first. So how many reviews do you need? Well, the answer to that is, you'll be delighted to know, of course, it all depends. Now, all things being equal, let's go and play Amazon Shopper, and let's go and do it on the Amazon.com website just to make things easy for us. And let's do ready for school, just because my kids are going back to school. Some crazy stuff happening there. And let's go and have a look. All right, so what have we got here? So all things being equal, if a customer comes to Amazon and they go search for a product, cellophane treat bags, that'll do. So they will come to a page like this. They'll come to the search engine results page. Now we can ignore the sponsored listings because that's, we can get that spot easily. And that's something that I've already talked about how to do that. But we come up and we look at now the organic results. So this has not been paid for through paid marketing, Amazon PPC like these have. This is just Amazon SEO, which is a different thing. Now, let's look at the top 4 results, which is these little babies here. Top 4 results. Result number 1 has got 412 reviews. Result number 2, 22 reviews. Result number 3, 121. Result number 4, 55. So, let's put ourselves into the mind of a shopper now. The shopper says, well, I want to make sure that I'm going to buy something that does the job and is good quality, and I'm not going to get ripped off, so I can use reviews, aka social proof, to mitigate the risks of that. So your job as an Amazon seller is to mitigate the customer's risks. One of the ways we do that is through reviews. So all things being equal, you must have at least as many reviews as the target position you're aiming for. So you don't necessarily need to target posse number 1 or posse number 3. You might be perfectly happy and get a lot of business by targeting posse number 4, for instance, and that could be your target that you're shooting for. So ultimately you will need more than 55 reviewers to target that position. But to start with, you must get at least close to that so that the customer can make a apples and apples comparison versus an apples and oranges comparison, with the orange being 55 reviews versus your 8 reviews. Clearly, if it's the same sort of thing, then the 55 reviews will get the business every single time, all right? All things being equal. Must stress that point. So that's the first thing to consider when you're thinking about your strategy for launching a product. What is the position that you're targeting? What is the position that you're targeting? What is their competitive advantage? Where do they beat you? How can you beat them? And then you put in place your review strategy to get at least that many reviews. Now, is 8 enough? Well, It depends on what position you're targeting and how many reviews they've got. I will say this, Amazon has recently put in, well, not recently, about 4 months ago, put into beta a new offering where they will get you your first 30 reviews, all right? And I've talked about that on previous Q&As, but essentially what that means is Amazon believes that 30 reviewers is the tipping point for the number of reviews required to legitimize your product. I believe that based on Amazon's previous MO that they track and measure absolutely everything, they have now ascertained that 30 reviews is the sweet spot, the tipping point where it goes from, I'm not quite sure, into now I believe it, I'm happy to pay whatever it may be for the product. So ultimately, you should be targeting 30 reviews, ultimately. But how many do you need to get started? Well, if I was doing PPC, at least 10, and is my target for PPC where I'm wanting to drive traffic. Let's just scroll back up. So you can see here, this is the sponsored listing with 1 review. Well, that is not enough. I would not run reviews with I would not run PPC with just 1 review because it doesn't look enough. I would run that. I would go for that one every single time because they're both sponsored. I would run that one and go for that one every time as a shopper because it just looks more convincing, regardless of the fact that they've got 1 5-star review and these have got 47 with an overall average of 3.5. You would still buy that one. All right, so a lot of information there, and I get that, but it's a good opportunity. Sue's asked me a great question, so it's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about reviews and about review strategy as it pertains to launching, okay? So, second part of the question, and here's where it gets interesting. To save me some money, can I list the items on Amazon as FBM, fulfilled by merchant, first, get the purchasers, then switch to FBA? I figure this will save me the cost of the product and also on the shipping fees. Now, is this an okay strategy or is this far too naughty to work? So the answer to that is if you can find people who will review your product without getting the product sent to them just for some cash, then that strategy would work. But consider that they will have to, first of all, purchase the product. So they will have to purchase the product which you're not going to ship to them, and then you'll have to pay them to do that. They won't do that for free for you. Whereas if you send them the product for free, they will probably do it for free for you. They'll do the review. So it kind of negates each other, if that makes sense. Plus, important point, by running the process properly and not trying to hack it, and it's a good hack and I like the thought process behind it, you will also put the product in the consumer's hand, in the reviewer's hands, and their reviews will be better as a result of that. Plus, you also then allow the opportunity for the reviewer, let's just see if we've got any good reviews here, for the reviewer to take images and perhaps even post a image on there or a video or something like that for you too. So that's for instance of how that could look, which of course looks heaps better. So long and short of it is this: yes, the strategy would work, and consider the implications of running the strategy as I lay out versus this hacked version, because for me the hacked version doesn't give you as good a result as the one I laid out for you. So that's of course in my opinion, but that's based on just thinking that through logically. Unless you've got people on the ground already in the target country, America for instance, I would stick with my strategy of getting these reviewers this way and do it that way. Hope that helps. Good question though, Sue, and I love your hacker mentality. You know I'm all about that. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video, and I hope that you got some massive value from it. Before you go, do you live in Australia? If you do, this is for you. Would you like to learn how to sell things on Amazon here in Australia? Would you like to know what sells really, really well and what sells for the maximum amount of profit? Would you like to know where you can source those products from, whether that be in China or here in Australia, and how to source them so you pay bottom dollar and get maximum value for what you're doing? If you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you'll learn that and much more. It's the exact same information that people like Jeff from New South Wales I've used to make $45,000 a month on Amazon, that Sue, who's from the sunny coast, has used to purchase herself a brand spankly BMW every single year as a result of her e-commerce business, and the lovely Kate from Bowral in New South Wales has used to make $32,000 a year on a month, not a year, a month on Amazon, and indeed Anthony, who makes $15,000 a month on Amazon, selling, as he puts it, odds and sods. If you'd like to learn the exact same information that they use to maximize their profits for their Amazon businesses, subscribe to this video, like my channel, post below if you want me to teach you something. Okay, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye. Subscribe. Do it now.